You know, Crystal made a great point when she was interviewing Senator Alyssa Slotkin, where she said, like, look, I'm a YouTuber, all I have is my words, I don't really have the kind of power you have, but even I feel guilty at times. Like, am I doing enough? There is a literal live stream genocide happening right in front of our eyes on a daily basis, and it makes you feel so powerless, it makes you feel so helpless, it makes you feel like dirty and gross because, you know, here we are, you know, living in the US, we have this immense privilege, and it's like, what can we do? Like, I want to stop this thing. I want to be involved. I want to fix it. I want to be part of the solution. I want to end the suffering. I want to end the degradation and the devastation that's happening. And that's something that I think everybody with a conscience, I think, is struggling with that to one extent or another, where you look at it and it feels horrible, but it also kind of feels fucking personal now. Because we send the money and we send the weapons, and, like, we have an obligation, we have a responsibility, we have a duty to stand up and put pressure on our elected officials and say, you gotta fucking stop this. You gotta stop sending them money. You gotta stop sending them weapons. You gotta stop sitting around with your thumb up your ass as fucking children are starving to death and innocent people get bombed on a daily basis. I mean, this is world historic, demonic, evil shit that we're witnessing. Don't act like it's not. Don't fucking gaslight us, right? So, now, again, it drives me crazy because I've covered this issue a lot. I'm not gonna lie. There has been, I think YouTube really turned the screws on this issue, you know, a little while ago. There was a time where you could cover in detail everything that was happening with the genocide in Gaza, and those segments would absolutely blow up, you know, and get 300, 400, 500,000 views because everybody was watching in horror what was happening. But at a certain point, YouTube decided, no, we're going to cut the legs off from underneath these segments, and they really limited the spread of anybody and everybody covering what's happening in Gaza. Now, you could argue, hey, part of that, maybe people lost interest a little bit because it was going on for so long. Maybe, partly, maybe, I don't know, but maybe. But for sure, they also turned the screws and said, you know, de-rank these in the algorithm, don't let them spread far and wide. And so, if you really stop and think about it, we're talking about, at the bare minimum, we're talking about like 180,000 deaths. 90% of which are innocent civilians. We're talking about schools bombed, hospitals bombed, UN buildings bombed. We're talking about kids being shot in the head, Gaza being the #1 place in the world for child amputees because Israeli snipers try to ruin their lives and shoot them in the legs, shoot them in the arms. They'd play these sick, perverse games where they'd pick a body part on a given day and shoot kids in those body parts. It's horrible. It's hell on earth. It's absolutely disgusting and grotesque. It's the worst of humanity. It makes me feel no hope for the future. But today I want to share with you, this is one story in particular. And again, it drives me crazy because I feel like we should be sharing all of their stories. So this kid's name is Amir. We're going to get to him in a second. But like, how many Amirs are there whose lives have been snatched from them in the most disgusting way possible? And like, nobody cares. Nobody talks about it. It doesn't even make the fucking news. Nobody remembers Amir's story. And that just breaks my heart. But look at this. So Trita Parsi says the following. My God. Green Beret Anthony Aguilar, this is the guy who's been the whistleblower for GHF, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and this is the guy who's been saying, this is not actually a humanitarian foundation, this is a front group to do annihilation of the Palestinian people and ethnic cleansing. That's what this guy's saying, not me, that's what he's saying. Okay, so he says, Green Beret Anthony Aguilar recounts how a 5-year-old Palestinian kissed his hands to thank him for the food Aguilar gave him. Seconds later, Israeli soldiers shot and killed the starving child. ISIS prisoners were treated with more dignity than these children, Aguilar says. Aguilar literally said, and we covered this the other day, he said, look, I've been in war zones. I've been around ISIS. I've been around Al-Qaeda. I've been around the Taliban. He says he's never seen more barbarism and savagery than what the IDF is currently doing in Gaza. Meaning, ISIS had more more humanity than the IDF. Stop and think about that. That's not me speaking. That is a GHF Green Beret whistleblower speaking, saying, you have no idea what I witnessed, dog. So I'm going to warn you, but this is hard to watch, but he's going to tell the story of this poor kid. And I want you to really sit and think about this kid. I want you to really let this marinate in your brain. I want you to really understand the stakes of what we're witnessing now and how history is going to judge this and how you want history to remember how you reacted to it. So here we go. Let's watch.
And he put down the little food he has. You notice he doesn't have a box. He doesn't have a box of food. He has half of a bag of rice that he found on the ground, a broken bag, half a bag of lentils that he found on the ground, and he was thanking us. Thank you. This little boy from where he came from walked 12 kilometers to get there, just to get there. 12 kilometers. Look at this boy. And when he got there, he thanked us for the remnants and the small crumbs that he got. And he sets them down on the ground, because I was kneeling at this point, and he sets his food down, and he places his hands on my face, on the side of my face, on my cheeks, these frail, skeleton, emaciated hands, dirty. And he puts them on my face, and he kissed me. He kissed me, and he said, thank you, in English. Thank you. And he collected his items, and he walked back to the group. And then he was shot at with pepper spray, and tear gas, and stun grenades, and bullets shot at his feet and in the air. And he runs away, scared. And the IDF were shooting at the crowd. So they're shooting to control the population that's along the Morale corridor. And as they're doing that, they're shooting into this crowd. And Palestinians, civilians, human beings, are dropping to the ground, getting shot. And Amir was one of them. Amir walked 12 kilometers to get food, got nothing but scraps, thanked us for it, and died.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I think I got one more here.
I served in the Army for 25 years. I've been shot 3 times in combat. I'm pretty tough. This gets me every time because, to what you're saying, the dehumanization. And what I want to say to the American people and to the people of Israel, I've been there. I have touched them. I have talked to them. The civilians in Gaza that are getting the food, they are starving. They are not animals. They are human beings. And they're being treated like animals. We treat these civilians in Gaza worse, with less dignity than we treated the ISIS fighters that surrendered in Baghouz Faghani in Syria in 2018. This young boy, this is on May 28th, on secure distribution site number 2. The aid had been distributed. A lot of people had left. You see behind, there's a crowd of people still with their boxes, kind of getting ready to leave. And this little boy, his name is Amir, and he was standing, he was with the crowd, but he walks over, and you see that first picture on the top right, he kind of walks over to me, and he puts out his hand. And at first I thought like that he wanted more food or something, and I felt bad because I didn't have anything. But I was like, oh, I have nothing. And he puts out his hand, and so I beckoned him to come to me. I said, come here. And he reaches out and he holds my hand, and he kisses my hand. He kisses my hand, and he says, Shukran. You can see in this picture that this little boy is not wearing shoes. His clothes are falling off of him because he's so skinny. I put my hand on his left shoulder, and I looked at him, and he's looking at me. We're looking at each other in the eyes, and I say to him, people care. You're a human being, and people care about you. The world cares. That's not Hamas. That's not a Hamas fighter. And I looked at him and I said, the world cares.
This little boy could be any of us, like literally any of us. An innocent 5-year-old boy travels 12 kilometers with no shoes on to get food, is only given scraps, is so thankful for the scraps that he kisses the hand of the GHF worker who was there, this guy, Anthony Aguilar, the Green Beret who became the whistleblower. And so he thanks him, kisses his hand, and then goes back, starts getting shot at, and gets killed. He was running because he was scared when they started firing tear gas and shit, and then they ended up shooting bullets and killing him. 5-year-old boy murdered. For what? For what? We are witnessing atrocities that are akin to Nazi Germany. And anybody who tries to tell you that's not the case, they're gaslighting you. They're lying. They're not telling the truth. Again, this kid could be literally any of us. Any of us. The, like, how one can bring themselves to a place where you can do this kind of violence against such an innocent person, that place truly is demonic. That place truly is evil. That truly is a black hole. And I don't know if there's any coming back from that. And what's happened to the Israeli government and the Israeli society is just mind-boggling. It's like being under a spell or something, you know? It's like being in a bloodthirsty, manic state. And to look at this and not feel nothing but sympathy and not feel disgusted by it, this kid doesn't have to be dead. All this could be stopped. All the U.S. has to do is cut off the money and the weapons to Israel and tell them to fucking fall in line. That's all they have to do. We've given them $298 billion. What are we doing? What are we doing? And all they do, they fucking kill people in Gaza, and they steal more territory, and they bomb hospitals, and they bomb schools, and they steal more land in the West Bank, and let the illegal settlers go crazy, as they've been going recently. And they bomb Syria, and they steal parts of Syria, and they bomb Lebanon, and they bomb Yemen. All they do is bomb. All they do is bomb and kill and expand. That's all they fucking do. How is this a fucking ally? All they do is bring problems. All they do is ruin people's lives. All they do is destroy families. This one stuck with me, man. This one stuck with me. So, you know, this is just one story. As I said, we're talking about minimum 180,000 people have been killed, 90% of which are innocent civilians. You know, who knows how high the number actually is. Usually in real time when a genocide is happening, people, they never really are able to keep up. You know what I'm saying? They're never really able to get an accurate number until long after the fact. And I fear the number is going to be just absolutely astonishingly high, just colossally high. But this is one story of one boy, Amir. This is what he went through. Imagine what Hind Rajab went through. Imagine what somebody whose name we'll never fucking know, what they went through. Moments of terror, moments of horror, moments of starvation. You know, just no electricity. No ability to fucking take a bath. No ability to cool off in the AC. Like, just pain and struggle and heartache and family members dying around you. And I can't even wrap my mind around what it just herded like animals, treated like animals, disrespected every single day. And for what? Because they're Palestinian? Is that why? And the answer is yes, that is why. Because you got far-right psychotic fascists who want to steal their land. And they're in the process of doing that. They want to kill them, as many as they can, and then the ones that they can't kill, they want to ethnically cleanse and send them to Libya or send them wherever the fuck else, right? And so they've gotten to the point where they dehumanize completely these people. And you don't need to take my word for it. You could take their word for it. Listen to Ben Gvir. Listen to Smotrich. Listen to, I mean, how many comments have we had from top Israeli officials where they say, these are not people, these are animals. They're all animals. There are no innocent civilians there, right? Treat them like we treat Amalek in the Bible, the story of Amalek, where you kill even the kids and you kill their animals and stuff like that. They're all on the record. We're going to do a total siege, cut off all the food, fuel, water, electricity, etc. And this is who's on the receiving end of that. Innocent little boys like Amir, who was so ecstatic over just getting, like, a quarter of a serving of food that he kissed the hand of the worker and then was murdered. As I said, the algorithm will crush this video. They don't want stories like this getting out there. But people need to learn it. They need to know it. And they need to see what our money, what our tax money is doing, what our ally is doing, and they need to put a stop to it. So spread this far and wide, get this story out there. And again, I can't reiterate this enough. There's only one person of over 100,000 who've been killed. You know, every single one of them has a story. Every single one of them has a family. Every single one of them has hobbies. Every single one of them had a job or went to school. You know, had feelings, emotions. And now they're dead. And now they're dead. We got to put a stop to this. We got to put a stop to it now. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
Why my work on Gaza is to be silenced. because what's happening in Gaza is a genocide. The personal attacks, the reputational damage, the threats, and this was really not unexpected but unnecessary. By sanctioning me, the United States are violating the 1946 Vienna Convention on Privileges and Immunities, which is immediately it's self-executing in U.S. courts, so it can be easily defended because there is nothing that I've done that can lead to sanctions. Come on, I've done my job. And again, they should engage on the content. Every member state should engage in good faith on the content of my reports, my findings, and my legal analysis. This is the interesting thing, is that they sanction me and then they make my work even more visible. This is why I say it was totally unnecessary. This mandate has always been under pressure, under threat. With me, this has risen exponentially. I also think that there is an element of misogyny, because when I read the communications from certain politicians, the messages is not just, a detached person who communicates a decision. There is hatred. There is hatred and frustration and a fragility of the ego. It's communicated in a very personal way. No, it's serious because it's a decision of the government. So of course it has political implications, it has practical implications for me, for the people working with me. But this is also a moment of reckoning, in the sense that we cannot abide by this. We cannot stop a UN Special Rapporteur from doing his or her work. And so I do expect states to block the effects of these sanctions. Look at what has happened to the journalists in Gaza or in the West Bank or in Lebanon. Journalists have become a target. Human rights workers have been targeted. Humanitarian workers have been targeted. And now even the UN person who speaks the most about that. So of course it's going to have a chilling effect on many.
The IDF morale has never been lower. It's in truly bad state, and the reasons for that are varied. I'll give you all the reasons. The reason number one is not anything to do with genocide or killing Palestinians. The truth is, sadly, most Israelis don't really care. But that is a reason for some people. Some people have done horrible things and don't want to go back because they don't want to do it again. I saw an Israeli soldier talk on Sky News about the things that he did. I've talked to some soldiers myself who never want to go in because of the things that they did. They exist. They're a minority. The most important thing I keep hearing from people who are in there is fatigue. They keep going in and going in and going in again, and they go to the same places, and then they go to the same place and their friend died here, and then in Bet Hanun, and 8 months later, their friend dies in Bet Hanun again, and they feel like the first friend died for nothing, and the second friend is probably dying for nothing. That's very important. Another thing is that the law to exempt Haredi men that the government is trying to pass is very much undermining morale. The sense that they keep going in over and over again, and the reservists are losing their jobs, they're losing their businesses, they're losing their marriages, they're coming back with PTSD. And then there's all these people who don't serve. That's massively undermining morale. Then there's a lot of other people that believe that the government is fighting this war in order to stay in power, which is absolutely true, and is not trying to get back the hostages, and is not trying to defeat Hamas. And that's probably the majority view in Israel right now. Not probably, definitely. And they're not motivated for that reason. And they're also being treated very badly by the army as their mental health deteriorates. A lot of people are going and saying, I can't go in anymore. And it's not for ideological reasons. My mental health, I can't go in. And they're being told to go in anyway, or they're being put in jail, and they're committing suicide. So all these reasons are really lowering morale. The number of people who feel bad about what's happening to the Palestinians is growing. But I think it's the least significant of those reasons so far. Morale is very low. This war or genocide, or it's really both, wars and genocide often go together, and this is one of those cases, can't go on for much longer without the army collapsing. And the IDF Chief of Staff, Zamir, is very aware of that and told the ministers that. So far, they don't seem to care as long as it keeps them in power.
We believe that if it was not the Medellin, then the Handala. If it's not the Handala, the next mission that will be bigger will break the siege of Gaza. Because a regime that depends on starving children to death and bombing hospitals, schools, shelters, and residential areas to stay on top of people cannot survive.
The Freedom Flotilla is attempting to do what is necessary in this moment for the children of Gaza, which states and countries around the world have utterly and completely failed to do for over 21 months now, to end a famine and to stop a genocide.
This guy right here, this is my favorite guy so far. So this guy's got a sandwich in his hand, and he's like, what is she saying? Starving?
Please think about the people who are dying. Please think about the people who are collapsing in the street. Please think about the people dying from malnutrition in the hospitals.
I gotta look at my phone. Is this really happening? So Code Pink, so they're starving 2 million people in Gaza. That's happening. It's happening right out in the open. And then when they come to get aid, they gun them down. This is all happening. This is all the most Third Reich Nazi stuff I could ever imagine happening, and it's happening. And we're supporting it. Your government is supporting it. And so Code Pink went and crashed the lunch room in Congress. While Congress eats lunch, 2 million Palestinians are being starved, Code Pink wrote. We took this message to the Capitol cafeteria because the people in that building can lift the siege. 6,000 aid trucks are waiting. Babies are dying. Stop funding famine and the siege in Gaza. So let's watch a little bit of it. So as Congress is eating, they come in.
Excuse us, as you all eat in the cafeteria of Congress, we are forcibly starving 2 million people in Palestine.
So we're here in Congress in the cafeteria. We'll be here every day this week. As staffers, as people are here to lobby, as Congress people are getting their lunch and eating in peace while 2 million people in Palestine are under forced starvation. And the people who work in these buildings can lift the siege, can allow for the 6,000 aid trucks who are in to get into Gaza. And that these distribution sites should not be run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. There's between 1 and 4 of them where Palestinians are being shot dead, murdered, while they are waiting to get in line for food, where UNRWA had over 400 distribution sites and we're distributing food in alignment with local communities. We are going to be inside the halls of Congress, outside, all across DC, all over the country, hopefully all over the world, to end the forced starvation, to lift the siege, to let the food in, and then to stop arming Israel and to end the bombs and to free Palestine.
There are 2 million people on the brink of starvation, and the people in this building can stop this, can end the siege.
Please think about the children who have nothing. Please think about the people who are dying. Please think about the people who are collapsing in the street. Please bring this up in your meetings in Congress. No matter what other issue you're here to talk about.
There are over 6.
So I think that would kind of ruin my lunch.
This? What?
That would ruin my lunch. If I'm trying to eat lunch and someone's telling me that we're starving people.
Because you're normal. Because you're a normal human. The flaw in this is that's how these people come here and that.
Yeah.
You have the biggest lizard scumbag fucks in the history of the world that run the West. And they're going to have the nerve to talk about how moral they are when they're done doing the Holocaust of your lifetime. So I love it. I mean, maybe it's inconvenient for them, but they get off on doing that to kids. Remember? Epstein, we're covering it up.
6,000 aid trucks waiting to be let in. This building, the people in this building can do something about it. Our tax dollars are being used to do this instead of funding housing, public education.
The people are like, hey, can I get by? The cheesecake's almost out.
They're like, yeah, we know. We made those rules. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's going great. I don't even understand why you're mad.
That's what we do. We killed a million. We killed 500,000 children in Iraq. Then we killed 1 million Iraqis. Then we slaughtered everybody in Libya and Syria, Afghanistan for 20 years. And now we're
tested shit in your kids.
And now, then we forced an experimental medical treatment on you and your children that was unnecessary. And now you don't know for 10 more years what all the side effects are. Hey, that's what we do. And now we're slaughtering Gazans. That's what we've been doing that for a long time.
Why don't you show some gratitude? We took a break from you for a second so we could get done genociding these people.
Climate change. And while you eat your lunch, please think about the children who have nothing.
That guy's not stopping. That's what I like. This guy right here. This is my favorite guy so far. So this guy's got a sandwich in his hand, and he's like, "What is she saying?"
Please think about the people who are dying. Please think about the people who are collapsing in the street. Please think about the people dying from malnutrition in the hospitals.
I got to look at my phone.
The babies that
this
can't
really
get
happening?
baby formula.
Yeah.
Look at, they're all just eating and all like, "Oh, would you cut it out, lady?"
So headline, terror attack on Congress today.
Yeah.
That girl is wearing a keffiyeh. That's the same as wearing a Kanye West swastika t-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a terrorist attack on Congress.
What a shitbag country we live in. The China show. You know, China's better on this issue.
Come see us in Oxnard, California, Rutherford, New Jersey, Manhattan, New York, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Appleton, Wisconsin, Rosemont, and Chicago, Illinois. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.
So there's been an absolute sea change in American politics. The Israeli government is now viewed with disgust and disdain, and they've really, really lost the population. Of course, there's one segment of the population that still supports Israel, believes in Israel, likes Israel, loves Israel, you could even say. That, of course, is the Republican base. They sort of overwhelmingly still love Israel, which is, I mean, you tell me what that says about the Republican base, given what Israel is doing. But everybody else in the country is done with them. So we got some new numbers here. CNN did a piece laying out how Benjamin Netanyahu, he is cooked. He is cooked, to put it plain and simple. Let's watch.
Benjamin Netanyahu, if you look at polling in the United States, he is lost in the court of public opinion. I want you to take a look here at his net favorable rating. It is the lowest on record, according to Gallup, and they have records going all the way back since the 1990s. What are we talking about here? Well, in April of 2019, before, obviously, Israel in Gaza and the latest war that's been going on for a long time, Benjamin Netanyahu was on the positive side at plus 13 points. Look at where he is today, minus 23 points. My goodness gracious. You look at those under the age of 35, his net favorable rating at this point, get this, 53 points underwater. My God. And this, of course, has everything to do with Israel's actions in Gaza.
53 points underwater with people under the age of 35. That is the group that is most plugged in. They're most online. They're more on top of the news than anybody else because they get it straight to their feed day in and day out. And basically all of them despise you. And your propaganda is failing miserably. Which, by the way, this is why this dipshit went on the Nelk Idiot show. Because he thought, oh, I'll just sit there and... They're dumb enough to think just the fact that I'm going on a podcast is going to increase my popularity, is going to increase my support. But no, it's not that simple. It's not just that you went on a podcast. No, it's like what you say and what you believe and your actions matter, right? Trump was the fucking Celebrity Apprentice TV personality guy. He knows how to be in front of cameras, right? He's got a presence about him. Love him or hate him, we hate him, but he's got a presence about him, right? So he can sort of get away with going on these podcasts and doing his normal Trump thing. But Netanyahu is fucking disgusting and dislikable to the max, and he's committing a genocide. And so, like, he really thought, oh, this will work out perfectly. Instead of his podcast appearance raising his poll numbers, he just, like, nuked the Nelk Boys and their podcast and the fucking Full Send podcast. And now everybody looks at them like the disgusting moral relativists and nihilists that they are, who just care about fucking cheap clicks, just care about getting eyeballs on them, and literally don't give a fuck about children starving to death right in front of our faces because of the guy you're giving a fucking foot massage to on your podcast.
The American people at this particular point not exactly liking what they're seeing, and they believe that Benjamin Netanyahu is in large part responsible.
So to that point, how do Americans feel about Israel's actions in Gaza right now?
Yeah, so let's take a look at this. I mean, net approval of Israel's military acts in Gaza. You go back to November of 2023, it's on the positive side of the ledger, plus 5 points. I bet if you even go back a little bit further, it'd be a little bit higher, but Gallup only measured in November of 2023 at plus 5 points. Look at here where we are in July of 2025. Way down there at minus 28 points. Among those under the age of 35, get this, a negative 73 point net approval rating. This is all being led. All the negative opinions towards Israel and their acts in Gaza are being led by the younger folks in the electorate. Negative 73 points on the net approval rating. You rarely ever see numbers that low, and that is charging up this number, 28 points underwater. The net approval rating of Israel's military acts in Gaza. The American people do not like what they're seeing and increasingly dislike what they're seeing.
Literally the entire country except the Republican base. And the Republican base, of course, are like fucking demons in the flesh. They're literally just demons. But everybody else in the country is absolutely disgusted. There's no amount of propaganda, there's no amount of bullshit that Israel can do that can save themselves from what's coming with the next generation. There's nothing they could do. People are not going to forget what they've witnessed, right? You can't scream Hamas loud enough or enough times. You can't scream anti-Semite loud enough or enough times to get your ass out of this one.
Leading to a number of other feelings when it comes to Israel in general. As we look at that, and also questions about Palestinians and whether to recognize the state of Palestine, that's back in the news because of Emmanuel Macron. Where do we stand on some of those questions?
Yeah, so, for the longest period of time, Americans have sympathized more with the Israelis than the Palestinians. That's still the case, but it's only by plus 5. You go back to May of 2024, it was plus 17. Right after October 7th, look at this, it was plus 48. In 2017, it was plus 39 points.
This does not tell the whole story, right? Because he's about to say what the numbers are with young people.
Dramatic drop. That is, what is that? A 43-point drop since the aftermath of October 7th. And again, under the age of 50, you look at those younger voters, it was plus 38 Israelis all the way back in 2017. You look now, it is plus 19 Palestinians. There has simply been a complete change of opinion on this topic, and it has been at least driven in large part by how Americans view the military actions of Israel in Gaza.
It was fascinating to see those numbers, Harry. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Those numbers are only going to get worse for Israel because they simply do not give a fuck. Or that's not correct. They do care. They're happy. They're positively just over the moon about the fact that they are massacring innocent people in Gaza, that they're going to reoccupy Gaza, that they're going to also try to take over the West Bank, that they've already taken over large swaths of Syria. They're over the moon about this. Guys, if you listen to what they say internally, go listen to Ben-Gvir, go listen to Smotrich. When they're talking in Hebrew to Israelis, or they're tweeting in Hebrew to Israelis, they don't fucking hide the ball, dog. They're just saying, yeah, we're going to kill them, and we're going to take their land. And that's what's up. And God wants us to have this land. So fuck off if you disagree. That's what they say. And it's like, okay, there are consequences to that. And one of those consequences is you're losing an entire fucking generation, which means soon as the money dries up from the U.S., Israel's cooked. You know how much money they've taken from the U.S. in their history? $298 billion. You think they get by without that money? Ain't no way, dog. Ain't no way. And what they're doing is, effectively, they're begging, hey, cut us off. And I can't wait until the day a U.S. president goes in there and says, here's how much money Israel's getting from now on from the U.S. Donut, zero. In fact, bitch, pay us back our $298 billion. It was a loan. Surprise. Right? So, but I also have this for you. Let me show you this. A new Gallup poll finds that only 32% of Americans approve of Israel's military actions in Gaza. 32%. Among Democrats, it drops to just 8%. 8. I'll show you a different poll later on when we talk about Zoran, but it's something like it's over 70, close to 80% of New Yorkers say Israel is committing a genocide in Gaza. 80%. And it's the majority of New Yorkers, a strong majority, say, yes, we agree with Zoran. Arrest Netanyahu if he ever dares to step foot in New York City. Arrest him. He's a fucking war criminal. He's wanted by the ICC. Where's the debate? And so this is what we're seeing. And again, just to be clear, of the 32% of Americans that approve of Israel's military actions in Gaza, understand that the overwhelming majority of them are those psycho end times evangelical Christians who literally think Jesus is going to come back to Israel on a winged horse and kill all the Jews and then bring everybody up to heaven for a party in the sky. They're literal, apocalyptic end times evangelical Christians who are absolute psychopaths and basically in a massive cult. Those are, the only people left. supported them and like some, you know, boomer idiots. But those are the only people left supporting Israel. That's it. That's it. And so, in the long run, I know it feels in the moment like, Jesus Christ, they're literally getting away with everything. Israel has total impunity. They could do anything. We never cut off the money. We never cut off the weapons. We always protect them at the UN. And so it feels in the moment like this is just what it's going to be forever, right? But that's not the case. Because as you can see, the polling among the younger generation, they have no interest in this shit. They have no interest. And this is going to reflect itself too. That's the other thing. In the electorate, it's going to reflect itself. So especially when you talk about Democratic candidates. Somebody made this point on Twitter. I thought it was brilliant. They said somebody can run in the Democratic primary and basically trump the Democratic Party by just being super over-the-top pro-Palestine and anti-Israel. It's almost like a cheat code. The Democratic primary is just waiting for somebody to come up and be like, this is a fucking genocide. We need to stop it. This is incredibly immoral. We're living through history. You know why this person to my left is not fucking criticizing? Because they get AIPAC money. They're an AIPAC puppet. Go look at the numbers. I guarantee you that's true. In fact, here, I'll tell you the number. They've taken $600,000 from AIPAC. We're just waiting on something like that. And there will come a day where we will get an anti-Israel, anti-genocide president. And in that moment, oh boy, Israel's going to be scrambling like a motherfucker, but the society will collapse in on itself. They also have a massive internal problems. Everybody knows Netanyahu is colossally corrupt. But there's also these like super religious, ultra-Orthodox Jews who refuse to serve in the IDF. And so let's call it what it is. They also sort of are like freeloaders in a sense on the government system. And so when you have more of those people going there, fewer willing to serve in the IDF, right? A shrinking population because you're in a war posture and Iran's shooting bombs at you as you shoot bombs at them and shit. It's going to collapse in on itself. The project is going to collapse in on itself. And it deserves to. Because it's a fucking supremacist ethno-state, fascist apartheid state. Like, of course, it deserves to fucking collapse. And that needs to happen sooner rather than later. And guess what? The American people are going to be cheering that shit on. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
This is one of the few remaining coffee shops in Gaza City following 21 months of relentless Israeli bombardment that devastated most of the strips, leisure venues in Gaza City. People were turning to this coffee shop, to this place, for a short respite amid the relentless and escalating Israeli attacks. Yesterday, it was bombed by Israeli forces, leaving this big hole in one of the sides of this coffee shop. Around 33 Palestinians were actually killed during the attack, according to Gaza's Ministry of Health, including journalists and artists. For example, 32-year-old photojournalist Ismail Abu Hatab was killed in the attack, in addition to female boxer Malak Mislih, also a Palestinian visual artist Amina Al-Salmi was killed in the attack. In addition to these, dozens of people were injured, including Palestinian female journalist Bayan Abu Sultan.
اللي صار باختصار كان هذه القاعة مليانة ناس جاي تتفسح هان على البحر، تردين من الضغط اللي برا وجايين هان. صارت الضربة فجأة، كل الموجودين ماتوا ولا واحد عايش. كل الموجودين ماتوا، يعني من كل الموجودين بس إصابتين تقريبا، تمام؟ وهي المجزرة أنت شايف، خبطوا هذا الصاروخ ولا واحد كان وقاعد غادر ساعة الخبطة. كان منظر يعني تقشعر له الأبدان، هان جثث، هان جثث، هان جثث، كله هذا جثث. هاي الدم شايف؟ هذا دم، هذا الكراسي هذه اللي مفرطة كلها قاعدين عليها ناس، كلهم انطحنوا فرموا فرق، كلهم ماتوا. طارت على البحر الجثث، طارت من فوق السطوح، مجزرة. أفظع يوم هذا اليوم من أول حرب لهالليل. مجزرة، ناس أبرياء يعني كلهم بنات وكلهم أطفال وكلهم ختيارية، ما يعني مش ساحة حرب أو ساحة قتال أو ساحة إيش اللي ما تستغربش، بحر ناس زي من ضغط البر تفرض هنا تفرغ شوي ما تقول هذا. يعني احنا امبارح يعني لما تقدر تقول شوال كبير لحم بني ادمين من هذه المنطقه. هان كان قاعد اختيار بالضبط، وهان كانت البنت اللي ميتة الله يرحمها. هان مجزره، كانت مجزره. كان هان طفله، استنى شوي، هاي حذائها هان موجود. وين راح؟ الطفل اللي كانوا عاملين عيد الميلاد هذوك جايبين لها دب فرحوها فيه، كان هان حذائها هان مرمي، مش عارف وين راح، ماتوا كلهم يا حرام.
فنازل عند اول الدهله لشيء تدقع، فالغبار ما خلتناش ايش نشوف شيء، فضليتني حافظ الطريق اجري. فجيت لقيت الشباب هنا، في 2 1 3 هنا، في 2 اخوه هنا، في كمان شاب غاز. جيت هلا لقيت كمان رجل مسن مرمي على الارض غاز. طلعت جوا لقيت نسوان. هذا كان في عندنا هنا اليوم بيعملوا حفله كذابه، يعني زي ما يقول نعمل فتة الكذابه، لا في كيك ولا في قهوه ولا في شاي ولا في كولا ولا شيء. بفرح الطفل جابوا الدبدوب لهم هذاك اللي مرمي على الارض، وجايين يعملوا عيد ميلاد. فكان العيد طفل قال له انا تأثرت في المنظر كثير، انا عمري ما بكيت، لكن طفله بكيت. امها استشهدت، طفله استشهدت، وكمان اخت كمان صابت، بس ما بعرف اصابتها خطيره او كانت ولا، لانه كل هيته كان ايش؟ حرك. اطلع لقيت شهداء كثير عدد شهداء. طب ليش؟ مكان هذا مين بيجي عليه؟ الناس اللي ترحلت من الشرق اجت على الغرب، خيمه لا فيها مكيف ولا فيها كهرباء ولا فيها شيء، من الحر تلاقيهم بيشطوا وين؟ بيجوا على الاماكن هذه، يا بقعدوا على الشط يا بقعدوا هان يا ده، بقعدوا عادي، يعني ما فيش عندهم اي مكان يروحوا الا الاماكن هذه. كان بتواجد في المكان هذا في منهم صحفي، في فنانين برسموا في طلبه توجيه، في طلبه جامعات بدرسوا، طبعا كله هيته كله منزلي هو، فبيجي على الاماكن هذه بتتوفر ممكن النت، ممكن يتوفر الاشي هذا، فبتواجد الاشي هذا فبيجوا هان. فاللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. فصار هذا الاماكن هذه طبعا ما بعرف، هذا مش مكان حروب ولا مكان اي شيء، انا ناس بتيجي بترفع نفسها. انا واحد من الناس مثل باجي بقعد هان الصبح، بروح باجي العصر بقعد، يعني ما فيش اماكن عندنا، لا في تكييف، الخيام ما بتذبحنا.
As you can see here, this is a complete devastation of the coffee shop, and there are remains of what the victims were doing before the bomb was dropped. For example, here is a cup of coffee that remains on the ground, also a shoe. But the most devastating of these is a teddy bear, where a mother and a child were having a birthday, or a fake birthday party, as they call, without a birthday cake due to the Israeli blockade and restrictions. This teddy bear was brought by the mother to her 2-year-old child, along with the family, to celebrate her second birthday. According to eyewitnesses, both the mother and the child were killed in the attack, in addition to several family members. Actually, people were considering this place or this coffee shop a respite amid the relentless Israeli bombardments across the Strip. We know that for the past week, Israel has been escalating its attacks on the Gaza Strip, also issuing evacuation orders to northern and eastern parts of Gaza City and the Gaza Strip in particular, ordering residents to move to the western parts of Gaza City and particularly the southwestern parts of the Gaza Strip, particularly Mawasi Khan Yunis area. So this area is located actually in western Gaza City, which is an area that is considered less dangerous than the rest of the Strip. Yet it was bombed with heavy bombs, devastating the infrastructure of the place and killing at least 33 Palestinians.
What do Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Airbnb, Chevron, BP, and even major universities have in common? According to a new UN report, they're all being implicated in what's being called Israel's economy of genocide. The report comes from Francesca Albanese, UN Special Rapporteur for the occupied Palestinian territories. She says over 60 corporations have been profiting from Israel's decades-long occupation, one that has escalated into genocide. Among those named, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft, cited for supplying cloud and AI services used in Israel's war on Gaza. AI systems like Lavender have helped automate the selection of bombing targets in Gaza since the beginning of Israel's war. Project Nimbus, a $1.2 billion deal between Google, Amazon, and the Israeli government, was signed in 2021 to support this kind of infrastructure. When workers inside these companies spoke out, accusing their employers of enabling deadly force, many were fired. But tech is just the beginning. Bulldozers crushing homes to make way for illegal settlements, Caterpillar supplied them. Chevron and BP power the grid that Israel uses to entrench permanent annexation and services the military while it obliterates Gaza. Booking.com and Airbnb market holidays on settled land. Universities like Edinburgh partner in research that builds a surveillance state and is directly linked to assault against Palestinians. Defense firms like Elbit Systems, the arms company that Palestine Action has repeatedly targeted, causing the UK to try and prescribe them as a terrorist organisation, was also listed for its role in arming and enabling military action in occupied territories. And if that wasn't enough, there's been an 179% surge in Israel's stock exchange since October 2023, clear evidence of financial gain from the war in Gaza. But this report isn't just about corporate involvement. It raises legal questions. Can companies and executives be held accountable for aiding crimes like apartheid or genocide? Albanese has urged UN member states to impose sanctions, suspend trade and arms agreements, and begin legal proceedings, not just against states, but private corporations and their leadership. On Twitter, she wrote, "There is no glory in upholding a system that enables and defends genocide. Step away and build an alternative rooted in safety, dignity, and equality for all, without exception." Israel's response: the report is defamatory, legally groundless, and a misuse of the Rapporteur's role. It doesn't carry legal force, but it could influence international law, corporate regulation, and future prosecution. Albanese's office has compiled a broader database of over 1,000 entities, and this could be just the beginning.
You don't care about the 2.2 million people who are starving right now.
Release the hostages.
You obviously eat well. What about the people who have no food?
I think they should release the hostages.
The babies need to release the hostages, the children that are starving.
Why is it that the fattest pieces of garbage are the ones who are also the most evil, telling people to starve? It's kind of ironic. So this is that Congressman Randy Fine.
Yeah.
And he's actually too psychopathic for even the Zionists. That's how bad he's gotten, because he tweeted this out. He said, "Release the hostages. Until then, starve away." So he's pretending like, babies and children are responsible for something that Benjamin Netanyahu has actually engineered. The October 7th attack, the funding of Hamas over the PLO, so they can use that attack on October 7th to starve these people, ethnically cleanse them, and commit a genocide and steal their land. So he's pretending
he's starving the hostages.
Yeah. So this is all. It says this is all a lie anyway. It amazes me that the media continues to regurgitate Muslim terror propaganda. So that's what he said. Starve away.
Right.
He said he wants to starve them.
Too.
That's it. So that's not hate speech.
But
that's not hate speech.
Yeah. Muslim terror propaganda is the stuff, and I am surprised to regurgitate it. I think he wrote that wrong, because they do regurgitate Muslim terror propaganda. He meant to say terrorist, and the meaning of the sentence is the crap that he says. The garbage from 9/11, Muslim terror propaganda?
Yeah, that stuff. So even the American Jewish Committee had to distance themselves from him saying that. So this is what they said. The serious humanitarian situation in Gaza must not be taken lightly, especially by those at the highest levels of government. Implying that starvation is a legitimate tactic is unacceptable. All those in need of humanitarian aid should receive it promptly and safely. So
maybe Randy should starve away so he can see his own dick again when he pees.
And here's Glenn Greenwald. He says American First Congressman Randy Fine, whose entire life has been devoted to Israel and gluttony, is denounced by the American Jewish Congress for too explicitly cheering for Israel to starve Gazans to death. So that's how bad. Your U.S. congressmen are even worse than the pukes who are doing this. They have to distance themselves from him. He's a little too Nazi-like for us.
Right. It's a big tent.
And here they confront him. I think this is Code Pink confronts him.
Congressman, how do you sleep at night?
I sleep great.
There are 2 million people being starved in Gaza. They are being intentionally starved by Israel. You guys continue to use our tax dollars to send to Israel to...
So no, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I'm sure a lot of people would look at that and say, wow, isn't that exactly how a sociopath would act? Someone who is not connected to feelings and can't imagine what they're doing to other people. That's what and so those are the type of people who rise in government. And there you go.
Aren't you shocked at it? Wait, I'm shocked at his answer. They go, how do you sleep at night? I was sure he was going to say with one of them oxygen masks for, fat fuck sleep happy.
Fund this. How dare you? There are aid trucks waiting to be let in.
As a Jew, I'm so ashamed of you. And you are destroying our religion with your Islamophobia and your racism. It is disgusting.
It's disgusting that you don't care about these 50 people being held hostage.
You don't care about the 2.2 million people who are starving right now.
Release the hostages.
You obviously eat well. What about the people who have no food?
I think they should release the hostages.
The babies need to release the hostages. The children that are starving. Why doesn't Israel release the hostages?
Excuse me.
That they have the tens of thousands of Palestinian hostages.
Pray every day for the children of Gaza who have no fault in any of this and yet are being victimized by Israel.
They're victimized by their parents.
Victimized by their parents? They have nowhere to go.
This is your legacy, sir. This is what you want your legacy to be? Starving children?
No.
We know.
But that's spoken like a true Nazi.
Spoken like a true Nazi. What is that, Kurt?
Who did Epstein work for?
So I got to go tip of the hat to Code Pink. I've given them criticism when they had it coming, when they didn't want to oppose nuclear war because of some of the... Anyway, but I'm glad they're there doing this. This is great. Good on Medea Benjamin and the other women that they got to do this. Is great. They should be proud of themselves. They're doing something. Come see us in Oxnard, California, Rutherford, New Jersey, Manhattan, New York, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Appleton, Wisconsin, Rosemont, and Chicago, Illinois. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.
All right, y'all, so this story here is wild. As you know, there's been some Gaza flotillas that are trying to bring aid in, food and medicine and water and all that stuff. And we had Greta Thunberg did it recently, and her flotilla was caught and turned around. You also had one of the actors from Game of Thrones who was on her thing, among many others. All these people are heroes. The fact that they're doing this, it's just heroic, the fact that they're trying to do this. Well, now we had another flotilla that tried to get in there, and this flotilla included Chris Smalls, who, of course, is the Amazon Labor Union co-founder. This is a guy who we very proudly had on Crystal Kyle and Friends very early on. Crystal had him on Breaking Points. We supported this guy from the very beginning. He's a real one. I mean, to basically fucking unionize Amazon, that's no easy feat. And he was, like I said, one of the co-founders of the union. But look at what just happened. U.S. labor activist Chris Smalls assaulted by the IDF during Gaza aid trip, group says. Freedom Flotilla Coalition says Smalls was choked and kicked after aid ship trying to reach Gaza was intercepted. On Saturday night, the Israeli Defense Forces intercepted and boarded the Handala, an aid ship that attempted to reach Gaza as part of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, a grassroots international collective that has worked to end Israel's blockade of Gaza since 2010. According to the coalition, IDF soldiers beat and choked the American labor activist Chris Smalls, who was on board the ship. Smalls is most well known for co-founding the Amazon Labor Union. The Handala, which carried food, baby formula, diapers, and medicine, was attempting to breach Israel's blockade of Gaza as Palestinians there continue to starve in what UN-backed hunger experts have called a worst-case scenario of famine that is unfolding. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition confirms that upon arrival in Israeli custody, U.S. human rights defender Chris Smalls was physically assaulted by 7 uniformed individuals. They choked him, kicked him in the legs, leaving visible signs of violence on his neck and back. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition wrote in a statement posted on Instagram on Tuesday morning. So, as I talk to you right now, we just got word that he's still locked up. He's in Israel locked up. And he's saying, hey, let me go to the American embassy. Let me talk to the American embassy. I'm demanding to go to the American embassy. And they didn't let him. He's still locked up as we speak right now. So let me give you some more on this. This is the video that he released where this is him saying, like, hey, if you're seeing this video, it's because our ship got intercepted and basically wasn't allowed in to go to Gaza to deliver the aid.
My name is Chris Smalls from the United States. If you are seeing this video, we have been intercepted at sea and have been kidnapped by the Israeli occupation forces or forces of the country complicit in Israel's genocide of the Palestinians. I appeal to my comrades, friends, family, to everyone to put pressure on the U.S. government to demand my release and the release of my comrades as soon as possible. Thank you.
So we also have this. This is Abby Martin did an interview with him. This is beforehand, and here's what he says.
You have kids. You know what it's like. You know what it's like. People have to wrap their mind around that this is an intentional starvation of babies. That's genocidal. That is genocidal. To prevent baby formula. You are risking your life, man. You guys are risking your life to go and bring direct aid because states have failed so abysmally, Chris, that you guys have to do this. I mean, what made you do this, man? I mean, this is a pretty dramatic step for you.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. I'm a father. I love my kids to death, and I don't want them to grow up in the world that we're living in now. As simple as that. It's sad to see every day we get on our social media platforms and seeing babies being memed and maimed up and bleeding out and falling apart and killed and shot in the head. It's beyond insanity. I can't even deal with it and cope with it anymore. It's giving me nightmares to the core. And I don't see how anybody who has a heart can want to live with this type of humanity that we are dealing with right now. So as a father, as a labor leader, as a U.S. tax-paying dollar citizen, I'm taking a stance and saying that I'm going to put my life on the line again to try to do something that, is much needed, beyond the scope of us. The 21 passengers, this is not about us. This is about the people of Gaza. It's about Palestine. This has been going on for way too long, and we're saying enough is enough.
I mean, what a disgusting, depraved world we live in, where the people who are just trying to bring in aid, just trying to bring in diapers, just trying to bring in baby formula, just trying to bring in medicine, just trying to bring in food, they get stopped, and they get treated like the criminals. And he gets kidnapped, he gets beat up, he gets tortured, he's still in an Israeli prison. Like, what does that say about the world we live in, where that's what's going on? And does anybody have hope that, the Trump regime is going to fucking make some phone calls to try to get this guy out of there? Are you kidding me? So it is free Chris Smalls. Shout out to the 21 people who were on there. The others were not tortured, but he was. And gee, I wonder if something else. I wonder if there's a reason for that. I wonder if maybe there's something that the IDF soldiers saw about Chris they didn't like, that they decided we're going to be more aggressive and violent with this one. Tough one. Stop and think about that. It's a tough one to figure out. But man, I hope he's all right. I hope he gets freed. And it was genuinely heroic to try to break the siege. And as we always say, man, you can't, at this point, you can't say you didn't know. Everybody knows what's going on. The question is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And even if it's just using your voice, it feels like it's not enough, but, we can reach a tipping point. We can get to a point where it's undeniable and it's inevitable, and you make the political class fall in line, because if they don't, they're cooked. They're done. Their whole life, their whole career is over if they don't take the right position on this, if they don't advocate for the right things, if they don't pass the right laws. And that's the bare minimum we can do to try to bring about this change, because what we're witnessing is beyond unacceptable, and it's a historic atrocity, and none of us should bear witness to it and act like it's fine, because it's not. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.